So tell me this. Is this your personality to be naturally relational, or is it a value you've decided to live out? Is it a combination of both? Do you actually naturally gravitate towards having friends, or has this been like a learned skill?
Well, let's be clear. Everybody's natural disposition is to be relational. It's probably a matter of to what degree do you choose to express that? Now, I certainly don't think everybody's got the same kind of personality, right? You got some people who are very outgoing and extroverted, and they're energized by being around other people. And you've got the opposite end of the spectrum, which is like, I'm actually pretty energized by being alone. But even those people are designed to be relational people, right? It's God's designed for us to be in a relationship with him and then to be in a relationship with other people. So when you ask, where does this come from? Is it natural? Yeah, it's natural. I think in all of us. I think for me, it's natural, at least the expression of it that's most natural is I am really energized by being around other people. And, I'm 46 now, at least as the recording of this, at the recording of the podcast. And I would tell you that if there's one quality or maybe motivation about fostering healthy relationships, it is just about being deliberate in putting the time and the energy into actually creating them. I mean, like anything, without some level of investment, there's just not a lot there. And right. I mean, you pick the topic. Where is this not true? You get out of something what you put into it. And if you want friendships, if you want relationships, if you want intimacy, if you want connectivity, it requires some investment. And the sad reality for me is that most people aren't willing to do what's required to get what they want. The challenge, I think, most of the time is that people aren't always not willing to do it because they're lazy. I think sometimes it's lazy. Sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it's like, there's a variety of different things. We could spend this whole episode talking about that, but I think everybody can be relational. I think it's just a matter of at what level is it expressed, and do the people in your life understand how you express that?
Yeah, that's good. Maybe you can, I know we could spend the whole episode talking about the different hindrances. What's the one that gets in your way? That prevents me from developing really rich friendships and relationships? Yeah, is it fear? Is it time?
Oh, mine's easy. Mine's just being selfish. Mine's like so easy. I don't want to hang out with you because I just want to do nothing tonight. I want to do my own thing. I don't want to go to that restaurant. I don't want to do what you're doing. So I imagine everyone listening has a friend or several friends who are very kind of servant-minded in the way they approach the world. And their first response most of the time is like, yeah, sure, whatever you need. You ask them for help and they say yes, and then they ask you what you need help with. I'm the opposite. I'm like your selfish friend who's like, do you need help? Hang on, what are we doing? How much time is this going to take? Are we moving heavy items? What do I need to wear? I put a lot of like qualifiers on stuff. I think that's generally because I'm a relatively selfish person. I think that's what comes out when I am not interested in putting in the energy or the effort, because I feel like this is either going to be a lot of work. I don't know if I want to invest the time or energy. Sometimes I think there are conversations to be had that require you to be kind of sharp and maybe on your kind of mental game and to like bring some good energy. And sometimes I'm like, I'm tired. I don't want to do that. All that stuff kind of goes back to the same thing, the same kind of same place. I want to do what works for me. And I think, I'm, again, at this point in my life, I'm spending most of my life trying to figure out how to get out of that as much as I can and say, if the first half of my life was about focusing on me, which sounds terrible, I'm trying to like put it in terms that people will connect with. I hope the second half of my life is about focusing, on others much more. And certainly there's always going to be a mix, but that's what I'm spending my life trying to figure out still. How do I become less selfish and more selfless? And what does that look like for me, right? Does selfless mean if you give me a call and ask if I want to go out to grab a bite, I'm like, yep, no problem. Or does it mean I, sacrifice my time? I think we have to figure that out for each of us individually, but I know I can put myself first most of the time, and that ends up being the biggest obstacle.
Yeah, as you're talking about that, I was thinking about how that plays out in my life because I'm an introvert. So I enjoy being around people, but it can definitely drain me. I recharge alone. And so a lot of times when I'm asked to go do something, even if I want to do it, I know the mental and emotional toll it will take at the end. And so sometimes out of my selfishness, I kind of like pre-reject the whole idea. Like, nah, I'm just going to stay home. But
That's right.
every time I end up doing it, even if I'm tired, my soul feels fulfilled after doing it. And so I'm learning how to remember how I'm going to feel later so that I actually go through with it.
Right. And I mean, the sad part of this is that nobody wants to describe themselves as selfish.
Right.
But this is the whole point. This is the whole construct behind sin in the world. Like, we're super selfish people. We like to do what we want to do. And regardless of your personality type or your preferences, we like to put ourselves first. And again, if you spend most of your lifetime trying to figure out how to kind of flip this paradigm on its head to say, in those little moments where I actually get to be selfless and serve others, you actually discover how much you love it and how much it fulfills you and satisfies you and brings joy into your life, brings way joy into your life. But for the most part, this is our life's struggle, right? Our great life struggle is to say, I can put myself to the side and put others first. And we do it in our relationship with Jesus. We do it in our friendships with other people. And the one thing I can tell you with certainty is, in every instance where that's actually been the path I chose to walk, it's always proven to be really fruitful, incredibly satisfying. It energizes you. It fills you up. And then this, like, one of God's great mysteries that I'm going to have to ask when we get to heaven is, if we have that experience and it's so awesome, why do we forget so quick?
Right. Like, we have the shortest memory when it comes to that.
That's right. And I guess this is all, to me, it's all part of the same conversation. If walking with Jesus is a daily commitment to loving him, to committing to him, to trusting him, if your relationship is built one day at a time, then every day is a new opportunity. So you have to go and learn this and put it into practice every single day. And it certainly becomes easier over time. But this is what I'm trying to do. I want to figure out how to be great at this. And the people I know who are great at it, I cannot spend enough time with them. And you can feel it when you're with them.
Yeah. That's so